Well, welcome to my Facebook page. It's another live chat. How are you?
How are you?
Mwah. Hi, honey.
Yes.
So good to see you.
All is well.
So Dr. Adrienne Denese has a PhD in neuroscience. She did research at Harvard. She went back and got her MD. And she is truly a woman who has looked at anti-aging in the most comprehensive way possible. So one of the things that I find is that Adrienne and I are very good friends, and we have been for years. But whenever I'm just spending time with her, I always learn something. She's always studying, she's always researching, and I always find that I learn things. And so I thought it would be wonderful if she would come here tonight and answer your questions on anti-aging as well. But I also wanted you to, in the very beginning, and please, give us your questions. We're going to be answering some questions as we go through. But I really wanted to start out with having you learn a little bit about her, because I think she has an amazing, amazing story. And typically when you're on the air talking about your skincare, you're talking about the skincare, and there's not really time to talk about your life. But where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Oh my goodness. I do have a story, girls. I do have a story to share. I was born in Hungary during communism. Mm-hmm. Communist Hungary was a dreadful place. It was bleak, it was oppressive, it was sad, it was horrible. The only thing that the communists did right was education was superb. Mm-hmm. It really was. In high school, science courses were equivalent to college courses here. I know because I took high school courses over there, and I took college courses over here at some of the best universities, and I learned nothing new. So the education system was really impressive, but otherwise life was really awful in communist.
But you were always a scholar. You were always a bookworm.
Always,
you were always passionate about learning.
Yes.
And how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 24 years old.
And when you came here, what degrees did you already have?
I already had a PhD in neuroscience, and I was determined to get a medical degree in the United States.
So you show up in the United States.
Yes.
At 24 years old with a PhD in neuroscience.
Yes.
How much money in your pocket?
I had $40 in my pocket. That is $40 in my pocket.
She shows up from a communist country to the shores of America with $40 in her pocket. And one of the things that I thought was amazing, and I know that you were surprised when you got here as well, but this amazing degree, a PhD in neuroscience that you had, didn't mean the same thing when you got here because you didn't receive the degree here, right?
Yes, that certainly was an issue.
I mean, as far as getting a job and...
Exactly. But interestingly enough, I still ended up in a postdoctoral fellowship position, first at the University of Pennsylvania, and then at Harvard Medical School. So for some reason my PhD worked. I think it had more to do with me than my foreign PhD.
But let me just say, because
yes.
she was telling me the story once, so I hate to interject because it's your story, I'm so sorry. But what kind of research were you doing in your postdoctoral fellowship at University of Pennsylvania?
Well, and I had a phenomenal opportunity. At that time, positron emission tomography, PET scanners became fashionable. We had one of the first PET scanners in the country.
So you were actually doing research, mapping the results that had never happened before.
Exactly.
You were asked to give a presentation at Harvard.
Yes, that's exactly how it went.
How was your English at this point?
Well, not as good as it is now. It was terrible. I would
because
say.
you remember you saying that you practiced your presentation for Harvard again and again to make sure that you were speaking correctly.
Properly, exactly. So I did some fascinating research at the University of Pennsylvania. It was truly groundbreaking because there was simply nobody else who was able to who was able to produce these phenomenal results based on PET scanning. PET scanner is able to scan function in the brain. It is able to scan the areas of the brain that are actually active. So when you are reading, it's working here. When you are listening to something, it's working here. And we were able to map that. My job was to correlate the structure of the brain, the anatomy of the brain with what was happening based on the PET scanner. So anyway, long story short, wrote an article about that. It was fantastic. Harvard asked me to please present this article. So I was terrified. I was so scared. I threw up in the taxi cab, girl.
Oh no!
I really did.
Oh no!
I was so nervous. I practiced and practiced and practiced, but I didn't calculate the fact that I would be throwing up in the taxi cab. So anyway, I pulled myself together, became very calm, very composed, delivered a beautiful speech, and they hired me right on the spot.
And how long were you at Harvard?
I was there for 2 years. Did some more very interesting brain research on, actually it was rhesus monkeys, and mapping some very important cognitive functions in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just wanted to go to medical school. So I applied to one medical school, and that is crazy because everyone applies to at least 14 or 15, but I just said, look, if I don't get in, then that was God's will. If I get in, that's great.
And that was?
And that was Cornell Medical School in Manhattan.
Yes, very just reasonable expectation.
Yes,
I'm just going to apply to Cornell Medical School, and if that doesn't work out, then I'm sure it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, something. And actually, the real reason was that I had no money. You know, applications cost like $150, $200 per school. I had $200, so I said, all right, well, let's pick this school and go for the best. I had phenomenal grades. I scored top of, there's the MCAT, the entrance exam, phenomenal score. I mean, I was just top. So I figured that, well, somebody must take me. Hopefully somebody will. And then, so I applied to Cornell with my $200 in savings, and I thought that maybe I'll get in, so I did.
And then when you graduated from medical school, you eventually had your own practice on the Upper East Side in Manhattan.
Exactly.
That you really started on your own and were kind of decorating your office by yourself. Going out, finding furniture,
tiles.
bringing in, laying the tiles.
Seriously, I laid the tiles in that office. I decorated the walls. I put, oh, you have no idea how involved I was. But I really had no money at all. So I figured that, well, here I have $10,000. I have to decorate this office. Everybody, contractor said, well, 150, maybe 200. Well, I said, well, that's another day. So I said that, look, I'll just go to Home Depot and see what I can come up with. So I always had good taste, some God-given good taste. I don't even know how. And I just, chose the right tiles and the right ingredients, and the office was actually spectacular.
It was very pretty.
It was very pretty, really pretty.
So when you were doing, of course, an amazing anti-aging practice on your patients, you had very demanding clientele, people that came in with, security guards and limousines and things like that.
Very true.
And so you have always been interested in research. Always. Your background is in research, and you took your medical degree, your history in research, and really put it into creating some of your own skincare pieces that you were offering to your very high-end clientele on the Upper East Side, and that became the basis of the skincare, of course, line that you offer today, which is very, very successful. But it is one of the things that I love about Adrienne is when they say, do what you love, this is what you love.
That's exactly how it went. That's exactly how it went. Patients came in and they said, Dr. Denese, I had an anti-aging practice. Dr. Denese, please straighten out my hormones. I want to have a much younger hormonal underpinning to my health. And I did, and we did nutritional work and a lot of aesthetics work pertaining to skincare. Mm-hmm. But it always came down to the question that, well, all right, but then what do I put on my face at night? And I didn't really have a good answer. I tried many skincare lines, and I just thought that, well, if only this were a little bit more that. And if only this is okay, but it needs much more ingredient of such and such. So finally I said that, look, you just have to do your own. And that's exactly what I did. I hired a chemist, and we made a few important products. In fact, HydroShield was one of my very first
one of my faves.
Yes. And my facial firming pads was one of the products. We changed it a little bit as 3 years went by to add more modern ingredients, but the basis was there, and the SPF 30, because I firmly believe that you all have to use SPF 30 every single day of the year, non-negotiable. So,
in fact, Dr. Denese is the one who first told me that if when you were born, you were put into a room that had no windows, and so the sunlight never hit your skin, that you would still have, skin that pretty much looked like a baby. And I found that to be astounding. So
that is absolutely true. I love that you wrote that down. In fact, back in the old country, I met a lot of nuns. And the nuns, they put on the habit at the age of 18, and the habit looks like this. Only the face, this much of the face is open, and this part is covered permanently from the age of 18. So there it is. There is the perfect experiment for you. So I persuaded one of them to please show me what you have here, okay? And she did. She was very kind. The difference was stunning, girls. This was a 60-year-old wrinkled, regular face right here. And then we peeled off the habit and we looked at the skin that has never seen sun since the age of 18. And it was like two different people.
Wow.
It really was most amazing. So that's what convinced me at a very young age. I was very lucky because I saw this at a very young age. I realized that the sun is the enemy, and it really is. 98% of what we call aging is the sun. And that's the honest truth. It's smoking is a tiny bit, environmental conditions a tiny bit. 98% is sun, and then this much, about this much is the rest. So
since we all are already where we are, in our sun exposure, and we'll try to be very behaved going forward, I wanted to talk about what skincare can do versus other things. And one of the things that I think a lot of people have commented on is obviously you look amazing. And I wanted to talk about what skincare can do, what plastic surgery can do, and what plastic surgery can't do if you haven't done your skincare.
That is a brilliant question. And one of the most important things that we have to realize is that you know what, let me make a confession right here, right at this point. I did have work done, yes, I did. I got to a stage when I couldn't stand my upper eyelids. They were fat and they were sagging. And
you were saying that that's a family thing.
That's a fact. That actually was inherited to a large extent. It wasn't from the sun. It wasn't from the sun. My mother is very puffy here. And then my forehead began to kind of sink. The eyebrows were sinking, and I just didn't like the shape of the face. Skincare can do a great deal, but it does something entirely different than plastic surgery. Plastic surgery addresses the structure. There's nothing I can give you for the upper eyelids if they are sagging.
That would make a dramatic difference.
There wouldn't. There are some temporary fixes, but there's no skincare that has been invented so far, and I don't think there ever will be, that can shrink the skin to the degree that you would say that, well, yes, you look 10 years younger. So there's only so much that tropical skincare can do. However, very important, if I didn't have good skin to begin with, and I really have phenomenal skin, I have to say I have skin that is maybe, could be as many as more than a decade younger than what I deserve based on my age, right? So you have to have really good skin to be able to have plastic surgery and then look good. Right? If I didn't have good skin, I would look like an older woman with tight skin, lots of wrinkles still, unevenness, kind of a dead skin tone. I would look like, yes, I had a lot of work done. Now I try to flatter myself and I say that, well, I look okay for my age, which is a nice.
You look amazing.
Yes, thank you.
But I do think that one of the things that a lot of people wonder is, what can skincare do? You know, what is reasonable in skincare? And someone was asking a question, and this is a very good question. So I just wanted to mention this because we're going to start with your questions now.
Yes.
But one of the questions that I wanted to mention was Emily Miller Osborne. Hi, Emily. Emily said, I've always heard topicals don't work. Are they a waste of time? So what do they do? What should my expectations be when it comes to topicals and skincare?
That's really a great question, Emily. Here's what they can do. They can shrink the look of pores. They can change the appearance of lines and wrinkles. They really can. Dry lines, you have control over dry lines based on skincare. You can have some control over even deeper lines. There's a lot that skincare can do. The first and foremost is that you have to protect your skin because that's how you age. If you are not putting on an SPF 30 every day, don't bother. There's no need because the sun will take away whatever you build at night with your skincare. Mm-hmm. The sun will take it away in 5 minutes, 2 minutes.
Wow. Very,
very quickly. And even if the sun is not out, UVA rays come through the clouds and they destroy your collagen. And once your collagen is gone, your skin collapses. So what can good topical skincare give you? there is a certain plumpness, youthfulness that you can really get from topical skincare. Evening of the skin tone, topical. Superficial lines, topical. Deeper lines even, topical. Pore size, topical. There's a plumpness that skincare can give you, which plastic surgery cannot. So these are the things. It's superbly important that you exercise really with skincare. Now, there comes a stage, and it came in my life too, when I just couldn't stand myself anymore because of the upper eyelids and didn't like the shape of the face, etc. So there come a stage in your life when you have to continue with great topical skincare, but you have to add a little bit if you choose to do so.
Because I do think that one of the things is there are a lot of things that play into how you age. Genetics plays a part in how you age. How well you protect your skin from the sun plays a part in how you age.
Yes.
Your lifestyle, diet, exercise, nutrition, stress levels, hormones. There are a lot of things that play a part in how we age. But obviously, skincare is extremely important, and really good skincare can make a big difference. So I want to start out now talking about skincare, and I want to make sure that we cover other aspects of anti-aging too. But I want to start out with a few anti-aging skincare questions. And one of them that I know a number of people asked, Sarah Shell asked, Ann Bryant Smith asked, Marcia Bays Beard asked, they were all asking about circles under their eyes. So when it comes to circles under your eyes or dark circles under your eyes, what can we do about that? What's the best bet?
There are several peptides that can be highly relevant in the dark circle issue under the eyes. And vitamin C is also very important, and retinol as well, although it has to be a very small amount for under the eyes because otherwise it becomes very irritating. It is a very difficult problem to solve, it truly is. I put together an under eye dark circle cream that I pulled together all the ingredients in the marketplace that are relevant to dark circles. And I put the maximum amount in there because I believe in that. It's very potent. It is very, very excellent. Probably as good as topical skincare can be for under the eyes. I cannot give you miracles, but this cream probably does the most that topical skincare can do.
So hydration, peptides,
vitamin C,
retinol in very gentle form.
And in a very gentle form. Now, what is also very important here is that oftentimes ladies have a fat pad under the eyes.
Yes.
They think that they have dark circles under the eyes. It's not. It's a shadow that this fat pad casts, and that is really in the majority of the cases. This is the case that it's not really an inherent dark circle. It is a casted. It is a shadow that this fat pad casts. Now that's a surgical problem. I hate to say it's a very easy surgical problem.
Oh, is it?
Very easy, very easy.
So if you aren't ready to get it done surgically, then try to do as much as you can to make the texture smooth and even.
Yes.
A lot of hydration so that then you can take lighter color where the shadow is.
Exactly.
And try to work with it with your makeup that way. So if it's just a matter of a dark circle, that's one thing. If it's a shadow cast by fat under your eye, that's a different thing. But I am happy to know that that's an easy surgical fix because I didn't know that.
Very, very easy surgical fix. Truly is. It is done on the inside, so there's not a cut on the outside. Yes. And it's basically a weekend surgery. So
wow.
It's night and day. The skin does shrink very nicely once you take out the fat pad, and the dark circle disappears. So and how do you one more thing? How do you know that in fact the problem is the shadow? Take a Q-tip and just flatten it out and see if the dark circle disappears. If it does, then you have the answer. Okay. If it doesn't, then you also have an answer.
All right. So Katie is joining us this evening. She's not mic'd up tonight because we have both of the microphones, but Katie's going to be helping us out with some questions. So Katie, what do you think we should answer next?
Okay, 1 second.
All right.
Donna would like to know if Dr. Denese has any recommendations for rosacea.
Ah, Donna would like to know if, I'm just repeating because she doesn't have a microphone. Donna would like to know if you have any recommendations for rosacea.
It's a difficult question. It's a very difficult, highly relevant question. Very, very difficult. There is laser solution, which is actually quite effective.
I've done it.
You have done it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, and that is probably the number one best solution, because it's extremely difficult to shrink the vessels in any other way. I would say it's almost impossible to shrink the vessels in any other way. Now, there are two types of rosacea. There is one where the vessels are open, and that's what causes the redness. So you can actually see the little capillaries open, just red under the skin, and that is what is causing the discoloration. Now, there's another type of rosacea in common parlor that is more like little pimples, so many of them that they kind of blend together. That's a very different problem, and that's much more easy to solve. In fact, a strong glycolic acid product, such as my facial firming pad, can take care of this postular inflammatory problem very, very nicely. I had a lot of luck with that. However, there's really no good remedy for vessels that are simply open, except for laser, which kind of closes them up, and that's how
I had great results with the laser.
Great results. Yes.
On that one. All right, Katie?
Dawn is wondering what SPF level you recommend.
Oh, Dawn is wondering about SPF levels.
Yes. Donna,
2000? Okay.
Yes, what a great question, Sue. Yes, at least 30. I firmly believe in no less than 30. Very important to note that UVA, UVB, broad spectrum, that is critical. Why? Because during the winter, during the fall, UVA is coming through happily.
And it comes through the windows.
Comes through the windows
So
too.
UVA is aging.
Aging.
UVB is burning. So what you see a tan from is UVB. Exactly. What really ages your skin is UVA. You don't see the results of that, but it's coming through the windows in your home, through the windows in your car, and it's coming in year-round. So that's why broad spectrum, which means UVA and UVB.
UVB, exactly. To me, that's the golden standard. Now, I don't mean to boast, but I have very, very good skin. The primary reason for that is that ever since I was 25, I started to use an SPF 30. I don't know how I knew it. I think it probably came from the nuns. Remember what the sun has on the effect you have from the sun on your skin. Anyway, so I started to use an SPF 30 ever since I was very, very young. And I think really that's one of the reasons that my skin is holding up as well as it does. Plus, of course, I have all the best skincare available. All the peptides, the retinols, the vitamin C, all the most potent ingredients in the marketplace that I have used over the years.
Excellent. And by the way, SPF should be down the neck.
Down the neck too. Oh, very important, girls. Don't forget the neck. That's where all the trouble starts.
Oh, people are asking about the neck?
Yeah. Oh, what a great idea.
Yes. I think it's one of the things, because I'm guilty of that as well. I'm going, oh, I'm doing everything right from here up. I'm just going to wear turtlenecks for the rest of my life. But it's very important to protect your neck, because the sun is a huge reason that we're aging on our neck as well, right?
It is the reason, girls. Let's not pretend. That's the reason. that's the reason why we have circular lines on your neck, on our neck. The skin is becoming looser and looser as we grow older. That is the primary reason.
So now that we're discussing the neck, what do we do topically? I mean, let's say from now on we're protecting from the sun, but what can I do if I'm seeing aging on my neck that I don't like? What can I do to inhibit that as much as possible, make it look as good as much as possible?
Yes, exactly. You have to make me a promise, never leave the house without at least a 30 on your neck. That's number one. Then, the neck skin, the skin of the neck needs more richness. It needs more lipids in the formulation. I make my neck creams very, very rich in terms of lipids, as well as in terms of anti-aging peptides. I have a neck cream that I literally tripled the amount of peptides in there because that's what has the impact. So I gathered many different peptides, tripled the amount, put it in a jar with a lot of lipids, and that's what is working magic for neck.
let's just discuss, since
Yes.
we're not selling anything
No,
here.
we're not
just
selling
having a chat on
absolutely
Facebook.
nothing.
Let's discuss peptides.
Yes.
What are they? What do they do? Why is it? What is the magic? Why do they work? How do they work? Because I think it's something that can't always be addressed. And we hear peptides. So
exactly, very important. Peptides. There are different kinds of peptides, and they have different functions. One is, for instance, is able to help with collagen building collagen. The other is able to inhibit, to some extent, the breaking
but
down.
how do they do that? How does it work? I mean, I've been told what's like a shortened amino acid chain,
yes,
and
exactly. Exactly. Peptides are amino acids.
So it's literally kind of going in and giving your cells signals.
Exactly.
Because it's connecting to the receptors like an amino acid. So it really is something that's working on a cellular level.
Yes.
And it's been, I think, one of the biggest breakthroughs in anti-aging and skincare over the last number of years.
That's exactly correct. Yes, you're absolutely right about that. Peptides are short-chain amino acids. Amino acids are the building bricks of proteins. So these are tiny, like tripeptides means 3 amino acids. Tetrapeptides means 4 amino acids. There are and oligopeptide means a few peptides. Anyway, so they are signaling mechanism. That's precisely it. They are able to build into the cell, and just by their mere presence, they are able to trigger certain mechanisms that help to build collagen, or that helps to prevent the breakdown of collagen. So they are very, very significant.
Because I think,
yes.
in this forum, we can talk about things that we can't always talk about in other forums. And I think as a consumer, you want to know why these things, why are you recommending these things? What are they? How do they work? Those kinds of things. So I'm glad that we're getting to talk about that. Because I do think I hear the doctors talk about it, but we were never able to address it in our other settings. So
that's very, very intelligent of you to point that out, because you're right. We are not selling anything whatsoever. We are talking in general about the merits of peptides, the scientific merits of peptides.
Excellent. So when it comes to your neck, it needs to be much more hydrating, have more texture, more rich lipids, which are going to be the same type of hydration that you find in your skin.
Exactly.
Peptides, which are going to be what we're talking about. One of the biggest breakthroughs really in anti-aging in the last few years. So I think that's helping us cover the neck, which is always good.
Exactly.
By the way, whatever I do on my neck, I put HydroShield on first. That's just
me too.
That's just my personal preference. I just put that little plug in there. I just love HydroShield on that one. So what are some of the other things you're asking about, Katie?
Deborah and a lot of other people are wondering what they can do to shrink their pores.
Oh,
Deborah and a lot of other women are wondering, a lot of people wondering about the size of pores, because it is something that can be genetic. It can be from sun. It can be lifestyle. A lot of different things can all of a sudden go, wait a minute, if you're not sure what we're talking about with the size of pores, if you are noticing that your skin looks more like the rind of an orange, that's large pores. If you're noticing that maybe you're almost seeing little dots in your makeup, sometimes you'll see that your skin is almost eating your makeup in certain spots throughout the day. When you're young, you have these tight, beautiful little pores that just looks like porcelain. You're like, oh, that's so nice. And then by the time you realize it's gone, you realize you should have appreciated it when you were younger. So pores. I think a lot of women are at a place where they're saying, I don't like the pores. You have no pores, P.S. and by the way, you're poreless, which is amazing.
Yes.
So what can we do to be more poreless?
Pores is actually one of the easiest things
to
remedy. I'm serious.
This is good news.
One of the easiest things. As we grow older, pores enlarge. So you just remember that it can only get worse. But there's a lot that we can do for pores.
Okay.
One of the primary ways to help the pore situation is to stimulate the skin. How do we stimulate the skin? Well, alpha-hydroxy acids, beta-hydroxy acids, they do genuinely stimulate the skin. They stimulate the skin to become, they induce the skin to help
like cellular turnover, right?
Yes, cellular turnover. That's the predominant, and then to some extent collagen production
nice.
too. There are some articles in the medical literature which point out that in fact glycolic acid, high percentage, not just any old, but high percentage of glycolic acid can actually build collagen. So,
and one of the things that I know we had talked about a number of times is, I use your pads and I love those. I like the fact that with the pads, I don't have glycolic acid watered down with something else. I'm just really getting that glycolic acid on the skin. So you really want to use a glycolic acid that I think, to me, it seems logical, but if it's isolated, it's going to be the most effective.
That's precisely the delivery. It's all about the delivery. With my facial firming pads, which contain a very high percentage of glycolic acids, in fact, I really couldn't even increase it, even if I wanted to, because it would become too irritating. Yes, you deliver it to the right place, and it sits on your skin. You don't wash it off. It's very lightweight, so it mixes very well with anything else that you put on afterwards. And you are actually physically delivering it in a pad form, so you're rubbing it.
So it's very watery.
Very watery.
So it's absorbing,
yes.
More of a serum. And the reason I'm talking about that is if you are using a skincare regimen and the glycolic in your skincare regimen is in your moisturizer, then you might get more of a result from an alpha hydroxy by using it in an isolated form in a more watery serum that's going to really go into the skin on its own, because typically a serum is made to absorb. That's all active ingredients made to absorb. A moisturizer is going to sit more on top of the skin.
Exactly.
So that's why, if you're going, why do I have to do so many steps in skincare? Because one, they're going to give you different functions and different results. So I just wanted to mention that if you're using a moisturizer with alpha hydroxy and you want more results from your alpha hydroxy, you might want to add just a more isolated serum approach to alpha hydroxy before your moisturizer.
Precisely, precisely. And actually, the one which is delivering it in a pad form, because you are exfoliating, you are making the glycolic acid even more available for your skin, because you are rubbing, you're exfoliating, and the glycolic acid can permeate better.
So what else can I do for pores besides glycolic acid? Is there anything else?
You have to clean your pores, very important. Something granular, like a microdermabrasion cream, is ideal for that, especially if you are oily. You really have to use that frequently in the shower, because you have to clean the pores, otherwise your pores become even larger and larger and larger.
So we would always talk about this on the air, and it was one of my favorite things because I just found it so entertaining. So I was like, okay, think about your handbag. If you stuff everything in your handbag, the handbag's just going to get bigger. You have to take things out of the handbag. You know, you got to let people off the elevator before you get on the elevator. You got to get things out of your pores before your pores can look smaller. So you got to really clean it. And then of course alpha hydroxy. Anything else?
Yes. Well, then retinol, but that's a separate step.
Okay.
Retinol will also help a great deal with pores, also with firming and with lines as well.
Okay, excellent. What else are we asking about, Katie?
Kelly and a lot of other people are asking for help with brown spots or sunspots and on their hands.
Yeah, that's a big one. So
Great.
Kelly and a lot of other people are asking about dark spots, brown spots, face and hands. A big issue, and that is a lot of that is UVA over the years coming through all the windows in your life.
And in the car.
Yeah, so once again, obviously protection from here on out.
Yes.
Got that down. What can I do to address those dark spots if you already have them?
Wow, that's a difficult problem.
It's a tough one.
It's a
It
very
is.
tough one. Hands.
And you know what?
Yes.
I think here we can talk about differences between what is monographed by the FDA
Yes.
and what you feel is helpful as well.
Is effective. But what is monographed by the FDA, and it actually works very well, is hydroquinone. You can use it on your hands more easily than on your face because it's a bit irritating. So what is the best really for hands to remove dark discolorations is a combination of retinol or retin-A, as high percentage as possible, combined with hydroquinone. So if you have, this is basically the magic combination. It's very aggressive, and your hand can be a little bit irritated at times, but don't despair. That's just the price of admission.
And once you start working on dark spots, you really have to protect yourself from the sun. If you get rid of those dark spots, the sun will bring them back.
Bring them
if you
back.
don't protect yourself, right?
Yes. It doesn't take long.
Yeah, right.
Well, a few more days, and in the sun, and they are coming back.
So what about face, chest? What about dark spots on?
Well, the best for it is hydroquinone and retinol combination. Also, glycolic acid is very, very effective too. For instance, I use a lot of glycolic. Well, the pads, I live by them, and I always find that if I have a little bit of discoloration here or there, the pads ultimately will take them away. High percentage of glycolic acid that induces exfoliation.
Is that because of the cellular turnover?
Yes, because of the exfoliation.
So when we're young, the cellular, that's a very difficult word to say, the cellular turnover is about how many days?
It's
like
rapid.
28 days
It's
when
rapid.
you're young.
Yes, exactly.
And then as time goes by, the time increases, which means your skin just isn't turning over as quickly. So the exfoliating is going to help reveal that younger skin. The glycolic acid helps your cellular turnover go more rapidly like it did when you were younger. So the glycolic pads that, I mean, obviously great for face and chest. I use those on my hands when I'm done too, because there's a lot in there. So
Exactly.
it's the same for your face and chest as your hands,
Yes.
but just remember that hydroquinone can be a little irritating, so be careful on what you use on your face and your neck. And how long do you have to use it to start seeing results? Because it's not overnight. I mean, dark spots take a while.
Exactly. It's not overnight because the goal here is to inhibit the production of these dark discolorations. That's what hydroquinone does. So it takes about 6 weeks. Now, the glycolic has a different mechanism of action. It is exfoliating, and that's how it is helping you to get rid of the dark spots. Retinol is the same thing. Exfoliation, that's how it is helping you to get rid of dark spots. Hydroquinone is different. Hydroquinone steps in at the very beginning of the process of the formation of the dark spots. So you see 3 different entities doing 3 different things, and the goal is the same.
Okay. I know that dark spots are a really frustrating issue for, by the way, everyone at some point. So you are not alone on that island, just to let you know. All right, Katie, what else are we asking about?
Betty and several other people have said that they've never smoked, but they still have very fine lines at the top.
I'm getting
of
this too, and
their
I've never smoked
lip.
either. Betty, Betty, I'm so with you on this. So Betty and a number of other people are talking about the fine lines around the mouth, and that isn't just if you smoked. Now, obviously, if you smoked, you're probably going to notice those much earlier.
Yes.
But it is something that is a function of age. I have to say right off the bat, a friend of mine who I was talking to the other day was having that issue and had a little bit of filler injected in her lips. And it didn't look odd. She didn't go overboard, and it really did help smooth that out. So that's different than the discussion we're having here. But since I just saw that the other day, I thought I would bring that up because at some point I may consider that myself because she looked amazing. But
Yes.
what can I do topically?
Very interesting question. First place, sun protection is highly relevant here because the reason, one of the reasons we are developing these lines is sun effect. The second reason is that kind of bad design, if I may say so, on the part of God, if I may say so.
With all due respect.
With all due respect. Now, this is really, I'm just joking here. But as we grow older, fat leaves the central part of the face, and it settles in, and it settles in the middle. So there's a distribution of fat, which is very, very unfortunate. It leaves the face, and it goes to the middle, and it settles. And
that's just
deliberate.
not kind.
It's not kind, but that's the nature of it. So anyway, we lose a lot of supportive material. We lose fat. We lose connective tissue. We lose muscle from the face, and as a result, it begins to collapse. It's not the skin that you are seeing here. The skin is not the chief culprit in the formation of these lines. It is the fact that you are losing connective tissue, losing muscle, losing fat under the skin.
Is there anything we can do?
So fillers is a very good point here, and you are absolutely right. If a good surgeon can fill and plump up the lips a little bit, it will smooth out because we are addressing the problem. The problem is not really the skin here. To some extent, it is the skin, but to a large extent, it is underneath the skin.
So if I don't want to get fillers, what are the best things that I can do topically to help soften the effect or delay the effect or...
Yes. Excellent question. Protection, of course, number one. But the most important ingredients are glycolic acid here as well, because it exfoliates, because it stimulates collagen production. Retinol, because it exfoliates, it stimulates collagen production. and peptides, because they are little messengers. They tell the skin to make more collagen, tell the skin not to break down collagen. So whatever works for pores and for wrinkles will wrinkles somewhere else, it will work for the wrinkles here as well. And I definitely would recommend a high percentage of glycolic acid just for starters. I love the pad form because the delivery is so direct that way, and you can give so much to the skin. And let it sink into the skin, and then layer peptides there, and layer retinol there, and layer these are really the most important items.
Excellent.
Vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. Yes,
definitely seeing a pattern
yeah.
in the ingredients we're talking about on that one. All right, Katie, what else are we asking about?
Rhonda, Kayla, and at least 24 other people.
Rhonda, Kayla, and at least 2 other dozen people. Hi, Rhonda and Kayla and 24 other people.
They're asking if you feel like a cleansing brush.
They're asking about do you think a cleansing brush is going to be an improvement over just cleansing with the washcloth or by hand?
Yes.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Certainly, ultrasonic cleansing brushes are very helpful, and they do a great deal of. They help a lot. They are exfoliating. They are deep cleaning. If for some reason you don't have it, or you can't afford it, or whatever the reason is, or you don't want to use them, you can achieve excellent results with a glycolic acid pad, for instance. I usually
use them both.
Yeah,
Because I love the
exactly.
Clarisonic.
Yes.
And I use that when I'm cleansing.
Yes.
And then when I'm through cleansing, I definitely use the glycolic pad.
Yes.
So you can use them both if you don't have but so you're saying that you feel, because I think the question is it worth it? You know, is it going to be better if I invest in a brush? I think
Yes.
a lot of women are wondering that.
Yes. You certainly, you cannot go wrong with that. That's a good idea. It's a very good
Excellent.
idea. You will have some results.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So it can actually enhance whatever you're doing.
Yes.
Katie, just to warn you about that light behind you, honey.
Thanks.
A little more. Perfect. Okay.
Sharon and several other people have questions about their jowls and if surgery is really the only
I so
solution
feel you
for
on that.
sagging.
Yeah, right here. Right here. What's happening here? It's called gravity. It's lovely. I can't wait. But I think this is something that a lot of women, I'm just going to have you kind of go right here. Perfect. You can just, there you go. Perfect. A lot of women, I think that's one of the things we notice. We notice here.
Yes.
And we notice here.
Exactly.
So what, is there anything I can do to help this?
Wow, that is a very difficult question.
Because that's deeper. I mean,
That is
to a
deeper.
degree, that's skin, and we'll talk about the skin issue.
Yes.
But that really is more of the muscles underneath
The
the skin.
muscles and the loss of fat, precisely. So really, the jowls, it's not so much the skin anymore. We are looking at loss of connective tissue, loss of muscle, loss of fat. And no matter what you do to your skin, it will not resolve it completely. Good skincare will help because good skincare truly, genuinely firms the appearance of skin. It really does. Good glycolic acids, retinol, peptides, they do a lot to firm, but there's a limit. There's truly a limit, unfortunately. They're really, and you were very, very interesting at the very beginning, we began to talk. You start out with skincare. Then when you grow a little older, you start to do some
treatments,
Botox,
injections,
lasers. And then when everything else fails, then you do some surgery. So that's how life is. But the jowl is a classic candidate. In fact, when a surgeon looks at
surgery?
When a surgeon looks at your face, if you don't have jowls, he sends you home if he's a decent surgeon.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes, he will say that, well, just come back in a few years. If you start to develop jowls and it troubles you, then you came to the right place, unfortunately. Right. But that's just the way it is.
Well, and I have to say, and you know, it's not like there was a huge difference before, but I do use the New Face regularly,
yes.
and I think that it helps.
Yes.
So that has nothing to do with this conversation, but I think it helps. It's microcurrent treatment, and it's really made to help with the muscles underneath.
With the muscles,
so,
precisely.
You know, that's not nearly what we're talking about with surgery or anything, but I think it's a nice additional help if there's, you know, something else you want to try as well. But I do think it's something a lot of women struggle with, and the more that you can help the texture of your skin, the smoothness of your skin, the hydration of your skin. The more you do everything you can with good skincare, then you can minimize this effect. If you're not taking care of your skin and you have that, then the bad skin will exaggerate this.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things, and all these things we're talking about, even if it's something that can't be cured with skincare, if you don't have good skin because you're not taking care of it, it will make every other problem look worse. So that's just the basics of, making sure, obviously, that we're smart about our skincare. What else should we address? Because I want to make sure we get into some diet and nutrition, too.
Barbara and Linda are asking if there are any facial or neck exercises that you would recommend.
Oh, Barbara and Linda are asking about facial exercises.
I love you, Barbara. This is one of the most important points. I tell you, Barbara, yes, exactly. I do a neck exercise, and this is something that I do every morning, and I haven't started a day in
what does it
years.
look like?
It looks really weird, but I'll show it to you. It looks very, very weird.
Okay.
But it is one of the keys to the fact that I don't have too many cords in my neck. And without it, if I neglect it a few days, cords begin to emerge, and I get hysterical.
I have major cords in my neck. What does it look like?
You have to do it. Okay, so it's really weird, so don't laugh, but...
Well, you can laugh. We can't hear you. It's okay.
Okay, so what you do is... I have to show you. So what I do is I grab my hands in the back here and just stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch my neck back as high as much as possible.
I never would have thought of this as a neck exercise. I gotta tell you.
It is. And then if you want to really enhance the effect, then you push your chin forward, and that looks really bad. But I will show you here.
Okay, and that helps with the neck?
It stretches the cords. One of the things that we develop as we grow older is the cordiness of the neck. Look at an old lady. She has cords.
I have cords like a Klingon.
No,
I always have. I'm telling you, it's a weird thing with it.
Because you have to stretch more.
Well, who knew?
I bet you.
Who knew?
If you started it regularly, really,
right,
every morning,
I'm gonna start doing
spend like 5 minutes. It doesn't take long. And
they're kind of relaxing too.
It's relaxing too, and you see the cords begin to disappear. It's as simple as that.
I learned something.
What happens is that as we grow older, the tendons shrink. These are tendons. The cords that you see, these are tendons. So they shrink. They become more tight everywhere. Your hamstrings are tighter. Your legs, whatever it is, everything. All tendons turn tighter and tighter as we age.
Which is why we always talk about, I need to stretch more as
Exactly. Well, start here, because this is really visible.
This was worth the price of admission.
Honestly,
even if you got nothing else out of this hour-long chat, that was worth the price of admission, because I didn't know that. I just thought I had genetically weird cords. Okay.
It's the lack of stretching. You must stretch every single day.
I'll do it. I will do it.
And you'll see. In 2 weeks' time, we'll come back and take a look at your
2 weeks' time, we'll take a look at my Klingon neck. See how it's going. All right, Katie, anything else?
Yes, Gina and Deidre are asking about acne, adult acne in particular.
Gina and Deirdre are asking about acne, which can happen at any phase in your life and is so frustrating.
So frustrating. But acne is
it hormonal or is it?
Yes, they're great. Yeah, actually, adult acne is almost always hormonal, especially if it is around the mouth area. Chin, that is definitely a hormonal sign. It's what is key here is salicylic acid and glycolic acid. This is alpha hydroxy acid and beta hydroxy acid.
Okay.
These two, through exfoliation, they prevent to a large extent the accumulation of sebaceous acid in the pores, and it does help with preventing the rise of further problems. Peels, glycolic acid peels, salicylic acid peels, just do them regularly. Your microdermabrasion cream has to be second nature. And some people have acne prone areas here, for instance. Just work here. If you don't want to dry out the rest of the face, just work here.
Now, if it's hormones, is that something that you could go to your doctor and have addressed hormonally?
Exactly.
Or is that something you just kind of have to deal with topically until the hormones are over?
No, the best solution is truly to treat the core of the problem, which is the hormones. It's not so easy. doctors try, and sometimes they succeed in giving you the right hormones in the right way. Sometimes they don't. So I just want you to have a plan B in case
Excellent.
the primary reason for acne is still prevailing. And I think it would be good to talk about hormone replacement as well at some point.
Stop reading my mind.
Yes.
That is so. One of the things that I've always appreciated about hanging out with Adrienne is that she does study all the time, but she's also very, very generous with her information. And so we've talked a number of times, and I've said, since I'm sure I'm 5 seconds away from it, that when I go through the change of life, which I don't find that concept pleasant at all, but I want to do hormone replacement therapy, and I know that that can be something that a lot of people aren't sure about. So you've studied this.
Yes, I've studied it, and I mean, for myself, I wouldn't even contemplate not to do it. The key is natural, bioidentical hormone replacement. Etch it into your head. Bioidentical.
What does that mean?
Must be bioidentical. The hormone must be the exact replica of what your body genuinely manufactures.
Okay, what is the option? If I went for hormone replacement therapy and it wasn't bioidentical, that would mean it was from what? Would that mean it was made in a lab? Would that mean it was a plant source, animal source? How does that work?
I don't mean to be gross, but one of the famous estrogen substitutes are extracted from horse urine, so that's such as life. And
Wow.
generations of women were basically poisoned by this. The problem with something like a hormone that is not identical to your own is that it is broken down differently, and it is broken down in ways that can even give you cancer. So
the bioidentical is very important.
Must be bioidentical. Don't ever compromise on that.
Where does that come from?
That is just an exact replica of your hormones.
But where do they get it?
It's actually it's plant source to some extent.
Okay.
It's plant source to some extent. What is also important is it is best to apply it through the skin, because if you take it through the mouth, it clears through the liver, and it can cause weight gain. So stay away from that. Just do it through the skin. It's best. And depending on your needs, estrogen needs to be replaced. There are 3 different types of estrogens that need to be present in your cream. In addition, progesterone has to be replaced as well, and it has to be natural source, has to be bioidentical source. Super important. And even a little bit of testosterone later on, because that can rebalance your hormones very nicely too. And the combination of these 3 can get you through some very hard times.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm so glad we talked about that.
Yes,
I know we've
really
talked about that.
Yes.
These are some of the things I learned from Adrienne, from Dr. Denese, that I thought you would want to know, because I think that's very, very important. And while we're talking about it, very quickly, what can I do diet-wise for anti-aging? What can help me look my best as far as what I eat?
That is a fantastic.
You're very disciplined.
I am very disciplined.
She eats things she doesn't like because they're anti-aging.
I do. I'm guilty of that. In fact, I rarely eat things that I like because I just don't.
I like Oreos. Are they anti-aging?
Not quite.
No, okay.
Not quite. So what is interesting is, but diet is a whole new topic, and it's superbly important topic. We really have to, maybe we could focus on that at another.
Do you want to do a whole hour on that?
We could. I could definitely talk about it for a whole hour, but just the highlights. Most women don't realize.
Just some basic guidelines, and then we'll do another session on diet.
Exactly. Most women don't realize how much protein they need. You need at least 100 grams or more, depending on your weight.
Right. So you were saying, we were just in Rome. We were talking about this.
Yes.
How do I know how many grams of protein I should eat a day? How is that relating to my body weight?
The minimum would be, ideally it would be how many pounds you weigh. That is how many grams of protein.
That's a lot of protein.
But that's a lot of protein.
I'm solid.
So
that's a lot of protein.
I would say at least 100 grams. Now most women don't even eat near that.
Why is that important? When you say we need that much protein, what difference does that make? Why do we need so much protein?
Protein protein is broken down in the body into amino acids. Amino acids are the bricks, the building blocks of your own protein. So it makes hair, it makes skin, it makes muscle, It replaces your liver cells, it replaces your digestive tract, the inner lining of the... So everything in the body is protein. Once you compromise on your ability to replace the protein, you are aging more rapidly than you should. You really, really do. So that's the key. It's hard to eat protein. I happen to hate protein. Honestly, I do. I just...
She does. She hates salmon, and she eats it all the time.
I hate salmon. I eat it
It's
all
amazing.
the
She
time.
said, "I'm going to order me
chicken.
salmon." I said, "Do you like?" She said, "No."
I hate chicken. I eat it all the time.
Oh my God.
Beef, I really hate. I can't even eat it. But I eat it. I have a lot of. I take a lot of supplements, just protein powders, protein shakes, because it's yes.
So, and I was going to say, I think that we can cover a lot. How many minutes do we have in this hour? Do we have 5 minutes?
5
Very
minutes.
quickly, any other skincare questions that we want to discuss? Because water. How important
Yes.
is water?
Oh, super important.
Good
Girls,
question.
it is incredibly important. Remember this number, 2 liters a day. It's a little bit more than 2 quarts a day of plain water, not soda water, not carbonated water, not soda pop, God forbid.
Right, because I think, well, and I've been guilty of that. You think, well, I drink soda, I drink this, but you're talking about just water. It's very important
Water, yes.
that it's not just something in water form.
Yes, it is very important. I tell you, it has to do with the alkaline and the acid of the body. The body is tending to be acidic, so if you start to drink carbonated water, you are contributing to the acidity. We have to do the opposite. We have to do alkaline. That's why water tastes so bad. There's no acidity to it, but it's better for your body. And I know water is really boring, and I do hate to drink water, but I do it anyway because that's what we have to do. Hydration is superbly important. Lack of hydration can kill you. People who get stroke, they are usually getting it at a very dehydrated stage.
Oh, wow.
Or heart attack, people get it at a very dehydrated stage.
So
Hydration
2
is
liters a day.
2 liters a day, yes.
2 liters a day. I find I don't really like water.
I don't either.
For many years, I drank nothing but Diet Coke, and I know that's horrible. So I do drink a lot of water now, and I find that just drinking ice water makes it easier for me.
water,
And
yeah.
some people say, "Oh, I put a little lemon in it," and some people
Yes.
say, "I put a little lime in it." And so I think, try to experiment and see what works for you, and find a way that you can drink it. By the way, a friend of mine who went through some very, very serious health issues and is always looking for ways to keep her system more alkaline,
Yes.
actually puts a little baking soda
Exactly.
in her water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Which
that's
I
very
haven't
good.
tried, but that was just a little tip in case
That's a very good strategy, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, glucose, sugar, is the turning point in your diet. You have to reduce it as much as... It's very difficult, I know.
No more Oreos.
Yeah.
Quit bringing me Oreos. Okay.
I know.
But it
once
is
in
true.
a
I do
while.
think it's one of
Yes.
those things where, for years we were looking at so many different things. And there's the fat and there's the this, but sugar really is one of the biggest
Yes, it is.
sins.
Sugar is the key. It truly is the key. Sugar and refined carbohydrates is the absolute key. And I am just a messenger. Don't shoot me. I know you don't like to hear it. And I love sugar and I love baked goods and love bread and all that, but
But,
it just doesn't agree with me. And it really ages you very quickly.
So if you're looking at anti-aging, those are some very, very good guidelines. Try to eat things that aren't processed. Try to stay away from processed sugar. Definitely cut that down. Processed carbs. A lot more protein, a lot of water. I think those are some things we could all...
Exactly. And a lot of raw vegetables, not so much fruits, but raw vegetables. Try to find a way to... I know, it's hard. I tend to blend them. And that's another story which I would love to talk about, because I know that this would be very good advice for you. I take all the vegetables I hate, like beetroot and tomatoes and cucumbers and kale and spinach. I don't really... I would eat them.
You
but
put all those together?
Well, I try to vary it a little bit and make it more palatable. And I just blend it, put a little yogurt or kefir into it to make it more creamy, and some salt, actually lots of salt, and olive oil, and blend it. And I know it sounds horrific, but the body loves it. Loves it.
All
And
right.
it's under 100 calories.
So I know that we've covered a lot in this hour, and I know it also kind of gives you an idea of how amazingly diverse Dr. Denese's knowledge is when it comes to lifestyle, anti-aging, health. So what I'd like you to do is to just ask any other questions as a response to this post. And we will decide whether or not we'll have Dr. Denese come back for another live chat, or if we'll do some shorter video segments and post those to answer your questions. Because she does have a lot to offer. There's a lot of things that she knows that would save us all a lot of study and can help us, and we can really implement. So if there's something that you would want to know that she might have the answer to, then please post it again as a response to this post. Ask the question, and we'll try to get those questions answered for you. Adrienne, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank
I'm
you,
so
honey.
happy to be here.
Thank you. So good seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.